Hi there. Welcome to Anima T1D. My name is Susan. My daughter Mia has type 1 diabetes.
My name is Dave. I have type 1 diabetes also.
And my name is Lisa. I am a diabetes educator and also have type 1. In this video, we continue the conversation from the previous video where we discussed the impact of fat and protein on blood sugars. Here, we talk about the difference between total carbs and net carbs and what we should use for carb counting.
Please remember that this is for informational purposes only and is not meant to replace your doctor or care team.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Then you won't miss out on new content. Let us know what you think about this video and what other questions you would like answered. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on that grocery run. As you noticed, there is a whole range of low-carb products called Carb Balance, Carb Smart, or Keto, including bread, tortillas, snack bars, baked goods, and much more. A lot of them mention total carbs and net carbs, which is confusing when it comes to carb counts.
I was thinking of buying some low-carb bars for snacks, but the net carbs confused me, so I held off. I am glad we are talking about this now.
I agree. Knowing how to read those nutrition labels is important for carb counting. First, let's find out what the term net carbs means. Net carbohydrates, or net carbs for short, does not have a formal definition. It originated from the food industry when low-carb diets became popular. Net carbs is essentially total carbs minus fiber and sugar alcohols. Their idea was that fiber and sugar alcohols do not have a lot of calories and may not impact our blood sugar a lot, so they can be subtracted out from total carbs. Let's look at this tortilla that we bought at the store. It says that there are 2 grams of net carbs per tortilla. Let's look at the nutrition information to see how they got there. Here, it says that one tortilla has 19 grams total carbs and 17 grams fiber. Now, net carbs is total carbs minus fiber and sugar alcohols. There are no sugar alcohols in this tortilla. So, for one tortilla, the net carbs is 19 grams total carbs minus 17 grams of fiber, which is 2 grams, which is what it says in the front of the package.
When we spoke about glycemic index, you had mentioned that we do not absorb fiber. So, doesn't it make sense to take that out when we count carbs?
That is right, but sometimes fiber can be partially absorbed and cause a slight rise in blood sugar. If you use net carbs, you don't account for any of the fiber. If you use total carbs, you account for all of it, and that may be too much. There is no clear guideline for this. One recommendation is if there is at least 5 grams of fiber or more, you subtract half the amount of fiber from the total carbs when counting carbs. Let's see what that means for this tortilla. This tortilla has 17 grams of fiber, which is more than 5 grams, so we should take that into account for carb counting. The recommendation is to take half the fiber away from the total carbs. Half of the fiber for this tortilla is 8.5 grams. Take that away from the total carbs of 19 grams, and you are left with 11.5 grams. That is what you use for carb counting. You can, of course, round this up or down and don't have to be exact with the calculation.
So, you don't use total carbs or net carbs for carb counting?
That's correct. Using total carbs may be too much and net carbs may be too little. Remember, this calculation is just a guideline. You may need to change it based on your blood sugar response, or you may not need to add the fiber at all. That's why I wanted to discuss it with you both. Now, Susan, I wanted to talk about sugar alcohols with you. Remember we spoke about it a bit when we discussed free foods?
I do. You had mentioned that they add it to sugar-free baking products as it provides texture and does not affect blood sugars as much. But I recall you mentioning that it is not completely sugar-free either, correct?
That is correct. Let's look at them again. Sugar alcohols are found naturally in fruits like apples, berries, grapes, and peaches. They can also be made synthetically. They add taste and texture, so they are used in sugar-free baked goods, sugar-free candy and chocolate, and also products like soy sauce. Eating a lot of products with sugar alcohols can cause belly cramps, bloating, and diarrhea, so it is not good for our gut. They can cause an increase in blood sugar as they are partially absorbed and need to be dosed for. Let's take a closer look on how to dose for that. Here is an example of a sugar-free cookie. Let's check out the nutrition information. In one cookie, there are 12 grams total carbs. It also has 1 gram of fiber and 5 grams of sugar alcohols. As the fiber is less than 5 grams, we don't need to count that. Because sugar alcohols are partially absorbed, you cannot completely ignore it during carb counting. On the other hand, you cannot include all of it either, as that would be too much. The recommendation for sugar alcohols is to take half away from the total carbs. Each cookie has 5 grams of sugar alcohols. Half of the sugar alcohols is 2.5 grams. If you take that away from the total carbs of 12 grams, you are left with 9.5 grams. That is what you use for carb counting. Again, you can round that up or down. In this example, the difference between total carbs and the amount that you dose for is not much, but some of these products can have 10 to 12 grams of sugar alcohols per serving. That is large enough to make a difference in dosing. For our last example, let's look at this protein bar. It says that each bar has 4 grams net carbs, but now we know to not use that for carb counting. Let's look at the nutrition information. Each bar has 21 grams total carbs, 12 grams of fiber, and 5 grams of sugar alcohols. Let's recall how to change the carb count based on fiber and sugar alcohols. If there is more than 5 grams of fiber in each serving, we need to subtract half from the total carbs. With sugar alcohols, we need to subtract half out from total carbs. This bar has more than 5 grams of fiber, so we need to account for it. Half of the fiber is 6 grams and half of the sugar alcohols is 2.5 grams. So, if we subtract both of those from the total carbs of 21 grams, that gives us 12.5 grams. This is what we dose for.
This makes sense, but it seems like a lot of steps to think about.
And with the protein bars having both fiber and sugar alcohols, it can be more challenging. I do want to try those products though, to see if it will be better for my blood sugars.
It can be tricky, but these tips make it easier. First, if you see net carbs on a package, don't be distracted by it. Look at the nutrition label. Next, start with 1 or 2 products so you can focus on the math for the carb count. Remember, you may need to modify the calculation based on your blood sugar response. Last and most important, these low-carb products are processed foods, and sugar alcohols can cause nausea, bloating, or diarrhea. They are a good alternative if you want a snack that doesn't impact your blood sugars much, but make sure to mix it up with healthy snacks too.
We do try and give me a healthy snacks as much as possible. We found these really good sugar-free cookies recently. Let me try and practice carb counting for those and get comfortable with that.
I make it a point to eat healthy for the most part, but I am curious what those protein bars will do to my blood sugars. I will try dosing for that first.
Sounds good. Let me know how it goes. I am always happy to help.
We hope this gave you a better understanding of the difference between total and net carbs and how to dose for these products more accurately.
Check out our other videos about free foods, glycemic index, and much more.
Please remember that this is for informational purposes only and is not meant to replace your doctor or care team.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. What did you think about this video? What other topics would you like to hear about? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.